Hi guys, and welcome back to Art with Abigail. In this week's virtual art class, I'm going to be teaching you how to watercolor some pretty amazing things. Today, we're going to be focusing on wood cabins and the middle of the woods. And I have a painting that I did earlier to show you what kind of nature. So this is it. I'm going to be teaching you how to make a log cabin, outhouse, piles of wood, trees, you name it, everything you see on this piece of paper. It might be a little bit different over, like the house might be up here or it might be less trees, you know. And then if you look carefully, you can kind of tell it's snowing. And yeah. So, let's get started. So the first thing we're going to want to do is gather our supplies. And we're going to gather all of our watercolors, palettes, and we're going to set them down near us. And then of course we're going to need water. I've been watercoloring a lot already today. That's why my water's so gross, but I'll definitely switch that out. And then, of course, we're going to need paint brushes. And then definitely something to wipe your brush off on to really make sure it's clean. Mine's definitely dirty, but I can still use it. And then I also have this one that I used. And those will be perfect. And then we're going to start. So we're going to start by taking a brush. And I'm going to wipe it off. When I wipe it off, I put it in a clean area. And I just do this to make sure there's no color still in this brush. So say I used this brush in pink last time, and I want to use it in yellow. Then it'll blend the colors, and I don't want that to happen, so I need to make sure I have no more color left in this brush. And this brush looks good, so I'm going to dip it in my water. And I'm going to start by dipping it in my darkest brown. That's the color I used for this log cabin, but I thought the color was a little bit dark, so I'm going to go to a different palette and see if I like the results of this brown one. See, the brush worked. Then I'm gonna move it around a little bit. I'm gonna start by painting some trees. So I'm just gonna do some simple lines. That does look pretty light, so I might add a little bit of the other one. Just a few trees every once in a while, because we're in the middle of the woods. And I'm only going to start by adding 3 because I don't want them to interfere with my log cabin. So I can't use this brush for my log cabin because it would not really work. I'm going to move on to my next brush, which appears to have a little bit of black still in it, so I'm going to really rinse it and wipe it off. It looks clear now. And then I'm going to go straight into my brown on this palette. I'm going to get my brush nice and brown. And now I'm going to start by painting out my log cabin. So I think I liked it when it was on this side of the page. So what I'm doing is I'm putting my brush down and I'm just pulling it back and then picking it up. Pulling it back and picking it up. And these are the log pieces, the log cabin. And I'm putting my brush down and picking it up. And now I'm going to set my brush down. I'm going to go to a skinnier brush. Make sure it's clean. Get it in the same color. And I'm going to draw a line and this is my door. And I do not want the logs to overlap on my door. So I'm just going to outline it so I don't go over it. And then you can make your door as fancy as you want. I made my door with a little window in it. I might change that up. And then I can outline that in black later. And then I'll add a door handle. Gonna draw the bottom. And now I'm going to clean my water and come back once I'm done. I got my water all clean now. It's already dirty because I just put dirty brushes into it that are soaking, but they'll get clean eventually because they're soaking in clean water. Okay, so now that I have my door all outlined, I'm going to go back to drawing my wood logs. And then I'm going to put one long one above the door. And I'm going to stop. And I'm going to get a little more color. I'm going to go to the next side. Put my brush down and pull it back. You don't want them to be overlining too much because you still want to be able to tell that these are raw wood. And they're their own separate pieces, and it's not just like a solid wood house. There's like the logs. Now I'm going to cover up all the white spots. Make all my logs even because mine are a little short. Perfect. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Since there's all this white here, I'm going to try to cover that up a little bit. And still make sure you can see that there's logs. We don't want it to look like it's just a solid brown house. I want you to be able to tell that the wood, the brownness, is coming from the logs. Now that all of them are the same length, I'm going to take my skinnier paintbrush that it has the same color on it, and I'm just going to draw out a roof. I don't want to take out this tree because it's kind of right where I need to be. So I'm going to improvise and I'm going to make it into my chimney. And a little more water, a little more paint. And I'm going to completely make it so the walls on my roof are a little bit more solid. Now I'm going to finish making my chimney. Just like that. Now I'm going to put my paint in the water. I'm going to go back to my bigger brush. And I'm going to get it wet. And I'm going to put it into my brown again. And I'm just going to go straight across, straight across, straight across. Now, going to get these a little bit better looking. Straight across, straight across. Straight across. And that's just the way I did it for this painting, but in my demonstration painting, I did the wood planks going down, I added a window, and then I took black and did a up and down plaid pattern on it. And for the chimney, then I just went straight across. But for this, I'm just gonna go straight across for both of them. And now I'm gonna move on to the next step. Now I'm going to take my skinny purple brush and I'm going to make a log pile near the house. I want this to be smaller wood. I don't want the pile to be too big. So that's my log pile. Now I'm just going to take it and even out the colors, because the ones at the top are lighter, the ones at the bottom darker. I'm gonna cover in all those white spots. And voila, there's my wood pile. Now I'm going to make the outhouse. So I'm going to make a little more forward since these are these are on the same line, but I'm going to make it come down a little bit. And I'm just going to outline a very nice box. And get my brush wet. And get in some more paint. And the color's darker. And I don't want the color to be too dark. I want it to be more like the one in my demonstration painting. And I'm just going to do that. Now I'm going to get my paintbrush wet, and I'm going to go and do a different color, which is the same color as the one I used for the last one. And I'm just kind of going to start by outlining a moon, drawing a moon that I'll color in black next, so I can not color in that part. But now I'm just going to take my brush and I'm going to go on the bottom and I'm going to go up. And I'm just going to kind of keep doing this, you know. And you can't really tell this is a different color because I did not really clean my brush between visits through the colors. So I'm going to clean it a little better now. And the color is really dark. But anyways, I'm just going to kind of keep doing this. Then I might go down from the top. My brush is kind of worn out on the color though, so it kind of looks like an old wood kind of consistency. You can see that. Now I'm going to come in with my black. And I'm going to use this very odd brush, which is really small and really wet right now. And we'll see, it's clean. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to take my palette, which I've been using, and I'm going to get it all in that black. And since it's kind of like this weird line, it's going to be perfect for what we're doing. So now I'm just kind of going to re-outline the moon that I drew. Perfect. Now I'm going to color it in. Now I'm going to draw a hook on the side. And I'm going to do it on the opposite side that I did on last time, just to change things up. And I'm going to draw a lantern So to do that, I'm gonna start by drawing a U, upside down U, as the thing it's hanging on. I'm gonna draw a little bit of a solid line, and it should look like this, and this is the beginning of our lantern. Now we're going to take our skinny brush again, get it covered, make sure it's still covered in that. And now that we have our solid line here, we're going to make like a circle, egg shape underneath it, like that. Now we're gonna add the bottom of the lantern, and then we're just gonna make that make it a solid area, like that. And now we'll color the white area on the inside yellow. So I'm gonna take my brush, dip it in the yellow, different yellow, it's a good yellow, and fill that in. I accidentally got a little black on my brush, so wipe that off. And if you're just getting black like I am, wait for your black to dry and then come back to that. So I'm going to be coming back to that later. Alright, let that brush soak. Okay. Now, for the next step, we're going to add color to the door. So I'm going to take a broad brush of my choice, which is this one. When I get it wet, I'm going to put it in that brown we were using. And I'm also going to mix that with a little bit of a lighter brown. Get that nice and mixed in. This one has a little bit of more of an orange to it. And I'm just going to kind of do what I did to the outhouse, which is put my brush on the bottom and stroke up, 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 up. Now I am going to go over the door handle, and I'm just going to cover the whole thing in solid. And I'll go back with my brush and I'll go to the dark brown and I'll recreate that door handle. It's kind of big, but it works. Now I'm going to wash off my brush, and now I'm going to look at my thing that I'm copying. And I noticed this has a doormat, and so I'm going to make a doormat. So let's see, I'm going to pick a brush. Got a brush. Now I'm going to pick a color. So for that one, I used this color. But I'm thinking I might want to use a different color. I think I'm going to use more of, I think I'm going to use this color. It's kind of like a mixture of brown, orange, and red. And then I think I'll mix it, or maybe I'll just use this. We'll see what it looks like. So since I want it to look like it's actually there, I'm going to draw it like it's a shadow. I'm going to draw a crooked line out. So I'm going to look at the door and I'm going to draw a line out from it. And now I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. I'm going to draw a line to connect it. And I'll draw a line on the bottom to connect it. And I'll just color that in. And then later, if I want, which I did not do on my last drawing, I can write a word on this. I think I'll do that now, actually. So I'll take my brush, rinse it off enough, I'm gonna dip it in the black. You could really do this with any color. And I think I'm just gonna write, welcome would be long, but I think I'll write it. Welcome. And now it says, welcome. I'm definitely gonna let this brush it now that's been introduced to my black. And I might need to clean out my water again because it's dirty. Okay. Now I'm going to look at my picture again and see what I'm missing. In this picture, I made stone paths. I don't really want to do that on this one, so I'm not going to do that, but you can definitely do that. This is what it looks like. And then, looks like I'm missing the trees. So I went for a lighter color, but I'm going to go for a bit of a darker color this time just to change it up. I'm going to get my brush. So last time, I used a different palette. I used this palette. I can open it. And I used this color, but I think I'm going to end up using this color or this color or this color because they're all darker. Maybe I'll mix it a little bit. I use that one there, a little bit that one, and that one. And maybe I'll actually use a little bit of the colors on this palette. Nah, okay. So now I'm gonna do this so you can see. And I'm gonna go to my trees, and I'm just going to swirl my brush like this, which is how I did that. Okay. Now I'm gonna use different colors for the trees. So I'm gonna use my brush black. I'm gonna use a color from this one. This is a darker color. This is a darker color, and a lighter color. And I'll do that. Oh, that's nice. Okay, now I'm realizing, since I was building the house and I did not want to cut out all the trees or have the house get into them, I stopped making my brown. So I'm gonna take a brush and I'm gonna make more tree log thingies. And I get that in my brown. And I'm just gonna draw some lines. Since this is kind of supposed to be in the forest, wait, that is my water. Since this is kind of supposed to be in the forest, definitely gonna need lots of trees. In my last demonstration drawing, I did not add too many trees, but I'm definitely gonna add more in this one. Okay, so I need my brush now. And I'm going to keep making the trees with some different colors, mix them in different combinations. And I don't want the brown to smear since it's still wet, so I'm going to not really go over that too much unless I can tell it's dry enough. So I'm just going to get all of these trees. Most of these colors are coming out the same. Okay, and now let's see. Another color. Oh, there's a different color. Great. So that one, the brown started to show, so I just stopped, which is a perfect. Okay, now let's see this next one. Oh, yes, it's a nice color. Brown's starting to show. Okay, we'll see how this one turns out. I'll use a weird combination. Oh, it looks pretty good actually. So this is how it's looking so far. This one, the brown side of the shell, and this one too, but that's fine. Mix them up. And do my last tree. And in my last picture, I had it snowing if you can tell. See the white on the door handle, the wood pile, and I'm not gonna do that on this one. I'm just going to leave it like this, and I think I'm done. I don't really want to add anything else because it's so perfect. So yeah, I can actually, something I might want to do, take a pretty good brush. And I think I don't want it to be winter in this one. Even though this is a log cabin, I think I'm going to go with more of a lighter, darker green combination. So I'm going to use a little bit of this. It's kind of a brown green. It's kind of gross, but it'll work. A little bit of my lighter green, a little bit of my brown, and now I'm going to draw the ground. And it does not have to be even at all. It could be hills, it could be downhills. And yeah, I'm just gonna draw the ground a little bit. I don't really have to draw in the grass. I'm just gonna kind of spread that out a little bit. Kind of around the edges, come down a little bit. Down. Down. Back and around. So that's how I made it. I didn't really go down. I mean, I went down a little bit, definitely, but then I did not fill in the whole thing. I kind of just swooped around. But now I'm thinking I kind of like this color, so maybe I should fill it in a bit more. I'm kind of just gonna add some grass pieces because my brush is really dry. I did not add any more water, and I added a bit more color instead of water, and so it's a little bit darker, but it just comes out really dry, and it looks kind of like actual grass. Not like, you can tell it's not real grass, but I mean, like, it looks more realistic doing it this way instead of using a bunch of water. So that's it. And then since I'm using watercolor paper, it brings out that a little bit more. And voila. Now you have a log cabin in the woods on a nice summer day or whatever day you want to do. Again, if you want to add anything from this picture, it's your choice. If you want to make it completely different, that's your choice. I hope you enjoyed learning how to paint a log cabin in the woods, and I hope you can do this at home, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Please smash the thumbs up if you like this video. Thank you. Bye.